Hello, my name is Karl Tan,
And I'm Brandon Yoon.
and welcome to Catch Me Abroad.
On our first episode today, we have our guest Katie Falgout. She's a personal friend of ours and a recent graduate from UC Santa Barbara. She studied abroad in France during her third year of college, and today she'll tell us a little bit about her fun experiences while going abroad, first impressions of what it's like to live in a different country, and then the benefits of making local friends and taking risks.
So thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of Catch Me Abroad. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first podcast, Catch Me Abroad. My name is Karl Tan, and I'm one of the current summer peer advisors at UCSB's Education Abroad office and your co-host for this show. And I am joined by...
Hi, my name is Brandon Yoon. I'm also your co-host. I just graduated from UCSB recently, and I also studied abroad in my third year at South Korea.
And our guest today is Katie Falgout. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And so, I guess to kick it off for our podcast, do you want to go ahead and give us a little background about yourself, what you studied, where did you go abroad, and what year are you?
Yeah, so I am actually a recent UCSB grad. I went to France, Bordeaux, France for the full calendar year, my third year, and I studied global studies and French.
Nice, nice. So, coming from there, what made you decide to go to Bordeaux? Like, what was your thought of going to France from there?
Yeah, well, I've always wanted to learn another language, and I know at least at my high school, our language teachers were awful, so I took 5 years of Spanish, didn't learn anything. I can't say I'm Katie. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I thought I would give up Spanish and try a different language and hopefully have better luck with that. So I decided on French. My dad is actually from Louisiana, so we have those French roots. And that side of the family is still super happy, and they're constantly asking me to say things in French. So that was kind of the reason. And then also, as part of the global studies major, you have to take 2 years of the same language. So I had taken 1 year French at UCSB, and then I thought, what better way to actually be immersed and learn language than go to France?
That's awesome. And Katie, did you start taking classes for language before you even had this idea to go abroad, or did it kind of come about naturally as you started taking classes and getting better at French?
Yeah, well, I've actually always known that I wanted to study abroad. It was something that at little 5-year-old Katie dreamed of, and when I thought of college, it was, ooh, like going to another country as well. And I actually wanted to go to a college in England for the longest time. But so my first year, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to England. And then once I took French, it was kind of, I did a light bulb moment. And I was like, I should go to France. I just fell in love with the culture and the language. And that was why I chose to go there. And then going there for a year seemed like the obvious choice because you actually become immersed in the culture and you're there for a long time and you can make lifelong friends while you're there.
Interesting that you say that going for a year is the obvious choice, because actually a lot of people, I would say, probably might feel a little bit daunted to, be away from home for such a long time. What kind of pushed you to really take that commitment and just decide, hey, I'll live in a foreign country for a year and see what happens?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it was wanting to learn the language and knowing that in order to actually progress and become fluent or close to fluent, you have to be there for a prolonged period of time. And then also, honestly, I've always been the planner, but I didn't want to overplan things and let fear keep me from doing something that I might not ever have a chance to do again. And with UCAP, I mean, it's the perfect opportunity. They help you through every step of the way while you're in the country. If you ever are worried or you don't understand something, if you want even recommendations for places, fun cafes to go to, they're there. So I knew I'd have that support system, and I know that helped a lot when deciding to go there for that 9 to 10 months.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? It's good that you mentioned this because I was going to transition to something I wanted to ask was your first encounter with the office here at UCSB. So how did you decide to come to the office? How was that, if you could recall, your first encounter getting into the office, meeting the advisors, the peer advisors, and all that?
Yeah, so my first encounter actually went back to the summer orientation before freshman year when we were given the option, oh, do you want to go to the Greek life presentation? I honestly forget what the other presentations were, but the study abroad option was there. So I chose to go to that one. And so that introduced me to the office. They told me, I mean, I didn't know where South Hall was at the time, but they told me, oh, we're located in South Hall. And then when I arrived in the fall, UCAP was tabling along the arbor as well. So I got to go talk to people there. And then from the arbor and tabling there, I went into the office and probably harassed everyone working there. I went there a lot. I mean, I asked a lot of questions. I would come with my computer and a good 30 to 40 questions and just talk to the country advisors and the different peer advisors there. I also asked for returnee information a lot, and that was actually super helpful.
Yeah. You weren't kidding about being a planner type person.
No, I really wasn't.
and actually, I think Karl, you're doing that workshop like right now, the one that Katie's talking about.
Yes. So, ironically, because being in the summer intern, I am hosting the freshman orientations for the office, and so I am doing that presentation for incoming freshmen, presenting the study abroad program. So my first one's actually, well, to date, it's going to be tomorrow on Tuesday. So
that's so exciting.
My very first presentation in front of maybe about 100 students and parents attending this Zoom conference. So a bit excited and nervous, but all I think about is like, it's just a giant study abroad 101 that we used to do in the office, so not too bad. But I do want to mention too, because for me, when I first encountered my time with UCEAP, especially when I was planning to go abroad to the UK my full junior year, sophomore year, the way I found out was just going through the what is it called, the not the workshop, but the study abroad fair that they had at the arbor, where they tabled from there. And I remember I was just going to class, and my class happened to be going through the arbor, and I was just like, I'll kind of stop, I'm a bit early. And I went to the UK table, and it was there that I talked to one of the representatives from UCEAP. And she was talking to me like, oh, are you interested in the UK? I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of unsure about, study abroad. She's like, oh, okay, well, what major are you? And, that's where I explained I was a history major. And she's like, oh, have you thought about going for the year? Because as a history major, you're so open to many things. You can stay there for a year. And there's so many opportunities for you with financial aid and this and that. And that in itself, got my gears kind of turning. And I was just like, I never thought about study abroad at that moment, but I think I might go for it. And so then that made me do like a shotgun decision. You know what, I'm gonna go and fill out the application. And yeah, I feel bad that I bothered Adrian a lot, like you, and a lot of the peer advisors there in the office, asking all these questions, bombarding them about how to do this, how to do that. Attended every meeting, every workshop, just to ensure I got there, and been very happy nonetheless, and had a great time from that.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I don't know if you felt this way as well, but after asking all of those questions, and honestly, even without asking the questions, the process for the application is so streamlined and easy. It was almost kind of like, wow, I prepared, and this is so easy.
Yeah, and I would admit, like, the way that they handled the application process was really, really good. And the streamlined process of it, especially when, I guess this is another thing, back in the day, we used to go in person and turn into physical copies. Now everything is online, it's streamlined there. But I did like the physical interaction where we just turned in. We got to talk to the advisors and the peer advisors from there.
Yeah, and even that was really fast. Wow, I feel old. Back in the day, we actually had to hand it in.
It's really a step-by-step process, I think, which is what I want people to understand, because people think, I have to go abroad. How am I going to plan all these things? They come to the office in day one, and they're like, okay, how do I get my visa? And it's like, you haven't even applied yet. So, I think taking that first step to just say and like to yourself and commit to yourself that you want to take this chance and do something new, and then going from there, I think it'll add up slowly, and then before you know it, you'll be on site and you'll be in a different country.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it can seem really daunting, like you said, but EAP is honestly there holding your hand through everything. I know France has one of the hardest processes in terms of getting a visa. And
Mm.
all of my questions, EAP already had different documents up there explaining what I should put in what category and what all they had a packet of the different documents that I needed. So that made it so much easier.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of which, once you actually got to France, like we'd
Mm.
love to know a little bit about like your first impression, like your first day on site, orientation, everything like that. What was that like?
That, I mean, it was great because in order to get there, I guess a little bit about me, I'm really bad with directions. Like I still use Google Maps in my hometown. I've lived there for 21 years. I should not need to look at my phone and have navigation helping me. So I was really worried about being able to find the actual orientation site, because depending on your program, you might, if you're not in a dormitory near an orientation site, you might be housed in suburbs or in an apartment and have to take public transportation. And because orientation is on, I mean, it might be the second day, first or second day, depending on your program, um, of arrival in that city, it's kind of daunting to navigate public transportation. So I actually, if you were with host family, you went with your host parents. They took you there, which was great. And then I was in temporary housing for one night. So we had a member of the English club kind of walk us there. And that was super great. And then because we had someone escorting us there, other EAP students that I hadn't met before joined us in like a little flock. And we all took the tram together. So honestly, the most memorable thing was getting there, being in a tram with a cool French student on the first day, and then immediately being surrounded by people from all of the different UCs. And most of the orientation was just getting to know everyone on the program, getting a little bit of preliminary information, because depending on what city you're in, you might have a few different programs. So what you need to know will vary a little bit. But yeah, it was honestly great. That was when I started to make my friend group
Mm.
and meet everyone. I mean, we were all friends by the end of it, all 50 of us. But
That's good. And then,
yeah,
with all the friends that you made there, are you still in contact with them to this day? Do you still constantly text them and all that, and catch up with them, what they're doing in their lives?
yeah, I'm actually still in touch with a lot of them. My one of the A few of the ones I got closest with, we traveled together. Even after one of them was only there for a semester, had already left, she came back to Bordeaux again, like 3 months after leaving it, and we had a whole week long trip together where we went to Paris and shared an Airbnb. And then after my program was done, I actually traveled for a full month with one of my closest friends there. So that was really great. And they come to visit me and we Skype and text, like you said. I don't know if you have the same sentiment in terms of
Hmm.
bonding with people.
No, definitely the friendships that you make abroad, like they stay with you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Carl, you feel the same way too, but
Yeah.
it's like it's something special about I don't know, I guess making a connection with somebody like on the other side of the world. I mean, of course, it's nice to just have a friend to kind of show you around, to help you out, but when you finally like get to that point where you can actually be brave and step outside your comfort zone and actually like make a real friend, it's really meaningful and it's hard to forget after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially in the beginning, because you're all going through the exact same thing, that
Hmm.
really just cements
Hmm.
the friendship. And
Yeah.
to this day, we'll constantly bring up being abroad. I know there's that video where it's like, oh, when I was abroad, I did this, I would say this there. It's honestly the case with us, though.
I mean, yeah, I mean, especially when you've had such a great time going abroad and you have that nostalgia of being abroad, then, you can't just help but bring up those memories. And if it was something that was very impactful and it really changed a lot, like, I'm sure all of us can agree that study abroad had impacted us in such a way that we really appreciated more of our world that we live in, that you can't
Mm-hmm.
just not say, oh, when I went abroad, this is what I experienced.
Hmm. It's not just like, oh, I went abroad. Like for me, I don't know, because going to Korea, it felt to me more of like a chapter in my life story, really, than like
Mm-hmm.
a little part of my undergraduate education. It felt a lot more than just that. It felt like the connections I made with people, my family, my relatives that I hadn't spoken to in a long time, the friendships, the teachers I met. it really did feel like some other distant reality. I felt like, wow, what would my life have been if I had grown up in Korea instead of America? And I think
Mhm.
just having that made me learn a lot about myself and about the world around me. So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying about that.
Yeah, so I guess next on we can talk about is some of your memorable experiences when you're abroad. Is there something that you would like to recall, like a favorite memory of yours or a story of yours that whenever someone asks you, what was it like studying abroad? It's your go-to story that you tell your friends and family.
Oh gosh, I have so many. I mean, I guess I can start with the ones that are kind of printed on my body now.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I've got a lot of stories. I think I came back with about 4 or 5 new scars. Just
Oh wow.
yeah. I
Oh
also I
wow.
must say it's not studying abroad isn't dangerous. It's just I scar very easily. So things that shouldn't have turned into I don't know if you can see it, like small things like this did.
Mhm.
I can like hold it as well. But oh gosh, I have a lot from those. I guess I can start with this one because I've been pointing to it and putting it in the camera incessantly. I, a little bit about so I was in a homestay, a townhome to be specific. So there were 3 different stories. And I was with one other girl from UCSB actually in the same homestay. And I was on the 2nd floor and she was in the attic. And the staircase to get up there, it was the worst designed staircase ever. I mean, just awful. You know how normal, I mean, you wouldn't even think about this in terms of stairs, but normally stairs have this little like corner, right? So that when you're stepping down, and you don't realize this normally because it's just a staircase, but normally they have that little lip so that when you put your foot down, you naturally have something to kind of grip. Not this one. This one just kind of, it was wood, very slippery, and had this little rounded edge. And it was
Oh.
also very thin, the actual step, and winding and steep. So we were going down, and the day before this happened, my friend, I was going down first, and she fell, and I used my body to like block her. So
Oh,
she only
Oh.
went down. I know. It sounds really epic.
you're a hero.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I know. The point of the story is I'm a hero. I saved someone's life. But she only went down 3 steps. Then it's a long staircase and it has like a turn. So she only went down 3. Next night we get called down to dinner. She goes down first, is all the way down. And I fall starting from where I caught her. So I think it might have been karma, just like you need to finish the staircase or something caused it. But I went and like stepped, had socks on, not the best idea, slipped, went down. As I was going down, I had my phone in my hand and I was like, not my phone! Very aware for the 3 or 4 seconds it took to get to the bottom. So I like threw my weight to the other side to protect my phone.
Wow.
And I'm still going down, so this is a matter of like 1 or 2 seconds. So I'm like, not my phone. And then something about my host mom, she really loves Buddha statues. Like she just has them all over the house. And at the bottom of the main part of that staircase is like a 4-foot Buddha statue
Oh.
just sitting there. And I was like, I'm coming for this Buddha. So me having already thrown my weight once, so I was like, not Buddha! So I like threw myself again and then smacked the side trying to avoid killing Buddha. Because this is also 2 months after I had arrived. Didn't speak great French, so I was like, she'll never forgive me for breaking Buddha. Like, I can't hit Buddha. And so that was how I got this. And I also had this giant raised bruise that stayed kind of on my butt for 2 months. And it also was featured in one of my class videos.
Wow. Well, I guess
Oh,
the
man.
moral of the story then is your phone safe?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So that's pretty amazing to think that like all those things were happening in in a split second, your brain was just like protect my iPhone.
My phone.
It's like protect
like,
my phone.
like forget the
Phone.
Buddha, forget my arm. Just
I mean, at this point, when you're abroad, you need your technology, especially like you gotta save yourself.
That's
So-
true. That's true though. Quick
honestly,
thinking, Katie.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share too? I mean, that was a really epic
yeah.
story.
So I mean, I have others, but I mean, all fun stories aside, I guess the most memorable moment would just have to be a compilation of different moments. For me, it was living with an actual French family, and they had other students from all over the world constantly going in and out of different bedrooms because they had 3 different rooms. After the other UCSB girl left, there were 2 open ones. So someone came from Ecuador. He was there for 4 months. You had high schoolers who were only 15 come for a week, 2 weeks, a month. Someone who was around 60 came to visit, and they were all there wanting to learn French like I was, and we all got to have this this cultural exchange, and it was amazing. And I'm still in touch with a lot of them.
Mm.
Yeah, we're all like, oh, I remember that. Because, yeah, Karl, I'm sure you had like a similar like feeling too.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, what I really liked was when I was in the UK. Yes, everyone spoke English, but what's really cool was that even with the ones I was with that were like local to the UK, especially the Bristolians that I've met, and they're all over the different regions, hearing their own take about culture, the way that they lived, and then just kind of exchanging like their own, like, how do I say, like their mainstream type of like quirks, I guess. It was just like intriguing to me, just knowing like there's things in America that we have that's so different to what they have in the UK, that kind of really, it made me appreciate what they have there. Like we're not too distant, and we still have some similarities, but we have something unique.
For me, it was like going to Korea. I thought I would meet just Korean people and just learn that language, but actually, I was studying with people from Europe and other parts of Asia, even Australia. It was insane because like I never expected that one day I would learn this language that I used to speak when I was a baby, but now do it with people from all over the world. And like we're all eating dinner together, and we are from literally from like a corner of each part of the world, and we're just speaking in Korean of all languages. It's really like a memorable experience that you can't get anywhere else, like and through any other time in your life, really. I feel like so it's a thing to take advantage of when you're able to go abroad as a student in college, I think.
And I guess, now that we've, talked about what your memorable experience were, I guess you can do a little reflection if that's fine. Like, what is something that you would look into your time abroad that you can really take with you moving forward, that you would love to tell, anyone in the future, whether it be a reciprocity student or a freshman that is very eager to want to go and study abroad?
Well, I guess the big thing that I learned, I mean, one of the big things would be to be courageous. And I know that seems kind of cliche, but I mean, a lot of people who might not go abroad for the full year because there are all these fears. Oh, I can't be away from home for that long, or oh, maybe I can't do it with my academics. Just do it. Just go for it. When you're there, meet new people, put yourself in situations you normally wouldn't, join clubs, go on that solo trip, because you'll learn so much about yourself and you'll grow so much as a person, and you'll never regret. I mean, I know this is a common saying, you'll never regret the chances you take, just the ones you don't. You'll always have that what if, and that's the worst feeling, to go away, especially from being somewhere so different. When you're in France or Korea or England and you go away and you're like, what if I had done this? You never want to leave that feeling. So just do it, I guess, would be and that carries on, that feeling, that thing that you learn to be brave and be spontaneous and adaptable, carries on later in life as well. I know right now I'm going through the application process to go and live in South Korea, actually. So
Oh wow, wait, that's so
yeah.
cool.
And so that application process with like the pandemic and everything has become very crazy. And old Katie definitely would not have been able to roll with the punches. I would have been like, no, there is a process. This is not going the way it was supposed to. That is a sign. But now I'm like, okay, I'll just keep going with this. It's fine.
Actually, I would love if you could elaborate on that go-getter mentality that you talked about. Like once you have
Yeah.
it abroad, it stays with you, because you actually help people study abroad when you got back from your own experience at, coming to UCSB as a senior, and then being an intern for the UCSB Education Abroad program. So can you tell us a little bit about like what that was like coming back, readjusting, and then what you're doing now?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was really great getting to be a UCSB EAP intern just because you come back. And again, I mean, I know that's the video kind of mocking people who have been abroad. If you are an intern, you get to talk with other people who have studied and been somewhere else for a year. So you get to kind of share those stories without people being like, okay, we get it. You lived somewhere else. It changed your life. So that's really nice. And then you get to help other people go and find which country they want to live in for 2 months, a year. And that's really rewarding because, and you also get to live through them a little bit. And I mean, it's really great getting to be able to give other people the opportunity or help them, like guide them on that journey in the way that other people did for you as well. Yeah, and then yeah, and then just I caught the live abroad and learn from other cultures and learn more about people and yourself in the process bug. So that's part of the reason why I decided to go to South Korea. I've been really interested in South Korean culture for a long time. And I honestly never thought that I would work abroad and think about living there indefinitely, not in the US, before studying abroad in France. I didn't think that was possible. I thought maybe, okay, a year is good. I want to do that. I can do that. But there was always that insurance that I'd be coming back, that I'd have something to fall back on. And I mean, after you do it for a year or however long you're there, it's kind of like, you know what, I've done it once. Why can't I do it again?
So what are you hoping to do when you go to South Korea, if everything goes well?
I'm hoping to teach English there. Yeah, that's like it's the nice way to get in with a visa. That sounds bad. Plus, it's also really great. You get to, I mean, English is my native language, so it's the only one I feel like I'm qualified to teach little kids to and kind of know everything about. So that's a great way to let other people catch the language bug and learn a bit about US culture as well, and hopefully want to study abroad or visit the US themselves.
And paying it forward too, like how people helped you. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna help others. That's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great that you're doing it that way and having that kind of experience to contribute again from what you've learned from abroad to now your own career moving forward. And I think it's really awesome that you're doing it that way.
Thank you.
Do you have any like platforms on social media that we can maybe follow along your story and see what you're doing the next few months?
Whew, I'm a bit of a social media recluse. I have Instagram and all that. I'm bad at posting, but I do have it. I'm very bad at, I actually have to look and see that's how people have made my social media accounts for me, but I'll do it. I'll start posting.
Okay, we'll put it in the description of the
Yeah,
video.
we'll get it on the description for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Great. I want to actually, before we finish out, if you have any like, we talked about like a lot of things, covered a lot of things, but is there anything else that you want to maybe throw in there that you didn't get a chance to say today?
I guess in terms of just really kind of obvious, I mean, it seems obvious, but when you're there, you kind of forget about it. Make friends with locals as well, with people from all over the world as well, but make sure to join join clubs and meet people from that country, just because it'll feel so much more like a home if you do that, and you'll learn a lot more about the culture that way.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's solid advice.
That is
Yeah.
really good advice.
Yeah, because on that, there's like when you go, one of the benefits of going to the UCEAP program is that you're not just with local students, but you can also be with like other Californian students, other American students. So there is this like temptation of like familiarity, trying to kind of stay with what you know. But I love what you said about taking risks and trying to branch out, because that's where you really get the abroad experience and find fulfillment, which is going outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. And for me, I definitely suggest for any one of our listeners too, yeah, if you're going abroad, Get out of the comfort zone, join organizations or clubs, and meet the locals, because it is a great way to really enjoy and take full advantage of your experience. I mean, some of my good friends are still from Bristol to this day that I talk to every day, besides all the ones that are all around the world. But the ones that were from England really made me enjoy my time there. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for joining us on our show, and it's been really great hearing about your experience and everything, and honestly, best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you. You guys too.
Yeah, super brave of you to go to another country and once again pay it forward, and then also, take a risk one more time. So it's like pretty admirable.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Catch Me Abroad. If you enjoy the content that me and Brandon have created, consider following UCSB on our social media platforms. On Instagram, it is at UCSB EAP, and on Facebook, it is UCSB Education Abroad Program. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the content, comment down below if you have any suggestions to improve our program or to show your support, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, UCSB EAP. In doing so, you will be notified of future episodes uploaded here, and you have the ability to see all of our informational videos to help you plan your journey abroad. Thank you so much, and we will catch you abroad in the next episode.